Hello students, welcome to EPG Patashala. I am Dr. K.R. Ramamohan, Associate Professor, Head Department of Anthropology, Sikkim University. Today we are going to discuss a module on the role of social reform leaders, M.K. Gandhi's constructive program. This module comes under the paper Indian Anthropology. Before we go this module, let us see what are the learning objectives of this module. We try to understand the role of social reformers and the role of leaders, which started well before the political awakening, despite all constraints, to bring a new perspective with reference to socio-political sphere. To know more about Mahatma Gandhi's constructive program, which were his way of understanding the concept of civilization and adaptation to new way of life. So, with the content of political awakening in India, particularly during the colonial times, the social agenda started becoming the center for the educated minds and people at the vanguard of any change that was setting in the society. So with this increased political consciousness, people could see the measurable socio-economic conditions of the political state holders. Namely, a society like India, it is very large, and many people are being without any privileges, and they remained only at the periphery of the society. They could not come into the mainstream society. Only the few people are being controlling everything at the top. So going deep down and assessing what is the ground level situation, so the political and social thinkers came out with some kind of an understanding that the prevailing social customs and traditions were some of the causes for this deteriorated economic and social conditions. So the economic conditions did not allow any access to the process of modern education because they were very poor. They are living in poor conditions. They have no opportunity to raise themselves. It is not allowing them, it is not facilitating them to have this social mobility. So where that the needs of higher education becoming very difficult. Hence, one of the most important agenda of all the political leaders that they want to bring social change, and social reformers started with this kind of sensitization in their mind. We could also see the beginning of the rise of this, the printing press, some daily newspapers, in the form of journalism, which want to awaken the educated masses. So at the start of second decade of especially 19th century, Raja Rammohan Rai has emerged as one of the earliest stalwarts in this whole social reform movement. To address the nature of remedies, particularly which are grappled in this religious social fabric. And Raja Rammohan Rai want to address these maladies which are caused by these religious sanctions, practices, which he says that this all comes under the orthodox attitude of thinking. So he started the Brahmo Samaj and propagation of his ideas that one has to ban sati, the practice that widows should be burnt alive, and he wants to put a practice of stopping this child marriages. He wanted to see the remarriage of the widows and to promote Western education so that women's status can be improved by getting equal rights. Similarly, we could see the efforts of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Jyotiba Rao Phule, Justice Ranade, Gokhale, Swami Vivekananda, Malviya, all are wanted tirelessly working to bring social reform in this religiously rooted Indian society. They wanted to bring a new social order through their reforms. In the same lines, we could also see Dayananda Saraswati, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, through their spiritual path life, Swami Vivekananda, with his theosophical lines, where they want to influence with their ideas that a new initiative for change in the behavior to bring back equal status of the masses. So by the start of 20th century, political leaders actively participated in most of the reform related activities. And these reforms were being taken as the movement, and this fervor started seeping into many more levels and going into the deep level, which are reaching the masses, cutting across different religions and social groups. One of the important social reform movement was the temple entry movement, where the lower caste people were denied the opportunity to enter into Hindu temples. It is also aided by some kind of sensitization through the media, especially the print media. And in this process, we could see many nationalist fighters like Tilak, Maulana Azad, who have wanted to bring the masses into the main fold. And the most of the influential figure in this whole nationalist movement is M.K. Gandhi. He is also considered as the father of the nation. Analyzed what is this society is based on. So his social analysis and why the problems in this society. By analyzing the Indian society at the grassroots level, he came with a lot of suggestions and advocated many welfare programs, which have not only ensured the freedom in many spots, but he wants to bring a permanent solution to the many social problems that have crippled Indian society for centuries. So Gandhi foresaw beyond the horizon and tried to show a path leading towards emancipation, leading towards equality, leading towards self-reliance for a long-term basis. And more importantly, Gandhi was envisioned a constructive program called as the Gram Swaraj, because he says that India lies in the villages and villages should be empowered. Communities should be empowered, where people can be self-reliant, and all the political and economic power should be given to the people. So through these constructive programs, Gandhi wanted to bring a complete independence, which is the bottom concept, which also leads to political freedom. And Gandhi's constructive program aims for the complete independence in a most truthful and non-violent way. For Gandhi, non-violence means not becoming passive. For Gandhi, non-violence means one has the courage to become more independent by taking peaceful means. And Gandhi's constructive program is multidimensional, which covers all social spheres of the society. It wanted all the communities should participate collectively for the common end. So constructive program fully envisage the communal harmony of all the caste groups, of all the religions, of all the other social groups in a given area. It brings unity, it brings harmony, it brings peace. So religion or faith has to be taken only as a private thing, which gives only a moral order at an individual level. And it should not hamper others' rights and privileges. And Gandhiji promoted that the true democracy will come when people realize that there is unity and respect of each other. And with this process, he formed this agenda by taking that there is a fraternity among all the people. Gandhi was deeply touched with the practice, inhuman practice of untouchability. He wanted to bring reform among all the upper caste and other dominant castes, that they should treat other human beings as they are. He set an example that he also committed doing the least menial jobs. That means that he is not a polluted man. You want to create a sensitization that one should not practice untouchability. And many people, the educated elite, has accepted. Gandhiji was little successful, at least, to bring that there is no division of human beings, particularly on the lines of the caste. Gandhi's main agenda is to bring self-reliance among all the local communities. Gandhi opined that as India lies in the villages should be made a self-sufficient regional units. For this, Gandhi said that local industries, occupation-based economies should be fully developed. People should take control of their own economy. So he encouraged to grow their own resources, not to depend on the others. So each and every family was engaged in either in small trade, production activities, which are based on locally produced materials. With this kind of an economy, a village will sustain on its own. And he sees an internal logic where everyone benefits from everyone. There is no kind of power taken by the outsiders. One can have the economy at the family level. And this gives the village a power to rule on its own. Gandhi stressed the importance of maintaining sanitation. He set himself an example. And he said that taking sanitation work is not a menial thing. It should be dignified. So he propagated the idea of dignity of labor. One should not give this job to others and consider himself as pure. The idea of sanitation is very important in governing their villages and their individual families. Gandhi proposed a model for new education, where education means character building. Education means becoming more independent, expanding the horizons of your thinking. And education must have a utilitarian value. One can lead life on their own. Education means which brings all-round development of the individual, which creates intelligence for human growth, for himself and others. With this character building, the nation will be developed, unity will prevail. Education should also bring an attitude that everyone has equal rights over in the society. And Gandhi stressed the importance of women's education. If a nation wants to develop, women should be educated. If a nation wants to progress scientifically, technologically, women should be given enough education, opportunities to grow themselves because they are the part of the nation. At any point, women should not be denied any opportunity in accessing education, in accessing employment. And they should be treated equally. They should have rights in all socio-political spheres. Gandhi said that if women were educated, the family will be educated. The new generation will be equipped with the principles of integrity. Hence, the models of democracy starts at the family. One can have a peaceful society if everyone start believing and respecting humanity at large. Gandhi stressed the role of language. Since many communities have their own dialects, he propagated the role of mother tongue at the basic level of education. It gives comfort to people in learning languages in their own way. Later on, the individuals can take up the mainstream language. So language plays an important role in the early formation of education and personality. Gandhi was equally interested not only to the educated elite, he was deeply ingrained to see the conditions of peasants and agriculturists. As India is based on rural economy and most of the economy is based on agricultural production, Gandhi said that the peasants and agriculture should be empowered because they are the backbone of Indian economy. Without addressing their problems, the economy cannot move forward. They are the sole bread givers to the Indian society. And their needs must be taken into account. Their problems should be understood. They should be given enough opportunities to improve agricultural production. Gandhi addressed the spirit of national character among the students, the young minds, and to join the freedom struggle and freedom movement because they are the future generations of the society. And through this, a strong character should be developed, which is well integrated. Gandhi propounded the ideas that these are the young ones who can take the nation forward. Gandhi was interested in consolidifying all the caste groups. He wanted to see a society where ruled by the principles of egalitarianism, principles of fraternity, principles of humanity, principles of equality, and all forms of social exclusion should be banned. There should be no more social discrimination among the people on any lines. Gandhi wanted religious harmony among the different religious groups. He propagated that every good aspect of religion must be taken as a moral principle and then work with other human beings for the cause of nation's progress. And the main method of Gandhiji to attain freedom, to struggle, is the method of non-violence. Non-violence must be taken as a peaceful path, and one has to defeat the opponent morally, and one must be courageous enough to take this non-violence path and to support individuality. And Gandhiji's main weapon is to fight these social evils which are prevailing in the society. The issues of casteism, the issues of religious intolerance, the issues with regionalism has deeply confronted Gandhi's vision for India. And Gandhi was mainly interested to empower all the tribal communities in India which were being neglected for centuries. Gandhi had a vision for all the scheduled tribes in India to bring them back to the mainstream. Gandhi gave immense importance to the tribal culture, that they should be protected, they should not be eroded. And he gave much importance to the welfare of the tribal societies. He wants that these tribal communities are being functioning smoothly without disturbing the mainstream. We have to learn many lessons from these traditional communities. The values of cooperation, the values of peace, the values of collective work ethic means to a lot to the larger society. Gandhi did not leave any community in Indian society. He wanted to give equal freedom to all the communities, even in the light of his nationalistic agenda to bring to power to Indian people from the hands of British government. Gandhiji's principle is based on attaining the truth, the only truth which can be attained by the process of being honesty, getting integrity. And he wanted the Purna Swaraj, where a total freedom comes to the individuals. And to get the Purna Swaraj, he wanted to have that freedom should begin from the village level, that the Grama Swaraj, and every village should be empowered in its own terms. Only then the nation can progress, even scientifically, even technologically. So he gave a massive appeal to the entire nation that one has to forbade the practices which are creating inequalities among people, and asked for to find the truth, to reach pinnacle of the values of humanity. And Gandhiji advocated that social change comes through very slow process, but it will come. It takes some time because it is a historical process. Social change is not comes in an easy way. So taking all these considerations, Gandhiji's vision as a social reformer, as an intellectual, is concentrated in all aspects of the society. His vision to develop the status of women, his agenda to bring a new directions to the education, his new constructive program at the village level, And Gandhiji's methodology, ascertaining the truth through non-violent means, giving a lot of importance to the village industry, empowering each and every family at a local level. And more importantly, you want to abolish this evil practice of untouchability. You want to bring a complete reform, those who are practicing untouchability. At the same time, Gandhiji proposed that the younger generation must be fully equipped with the necessary characteristic features of strong mind, a will to courage to change oneself so that it reflects on the other members of the society. The principle of cooperation, the principle of work ethic, taking voluntarily, the spirit of one nation, and it appeals to all the religions, all the caste groups, all the regions. He wanted a true democratic society where liberty to individuals, freedom of expression, freedom of thought, freedom of social practices, as given equally to all the members of the society. And he wanted to bring a radical change towards the human exploitation, that how many sections of the societies are suffering in the hands of the few for centuries together. And this can be found with this Gandhian principles, which we could even today see that Gandhian principles are equally applied, which he advocated a mixed economy for India. Gandhian principles can be applied in entrepreneurship. Gandhian principles are applied for peace building. Gandhian principles are applied for religious tolerance. Gandhian principles are equally applied for the righteousness, how to follow one's own duty. And Gandhian principles of self-reliance. Gandhian principles for women's empowerment and emancipation. Gandhian thought towards individual humanism, which can be considered as a humanistic philosophy, which guides the individual at each and every level. It gives us a path to conduct oneself towards the benefit of larger society. In that sense, Gandhi's principles, Gandhi's views, Gandhi's agenda for the character building at a national level, which brings the necessary conditions for conducting oneself without disturbing the other's freedom and equality, is unique in its own way. And Gandhian principles are being followed not only in India, in the rest of the world, where they could find that there is a truth in his message. And Gandhi has addressed all sections in the society, be it peasant, be it an agriculturist, be the tribals, the religious groups, the linguistic groups, the regional groups. At one hand, he is fighting for the nationalistic movement in the freedom struggle. He is trying to consolidate to attain freedom, to get individual liberty. Being understood the various aspects of Gandhian thought and principles and his philosophy towards the whole reconstruction of Indian society, while addressing many aspects of inequalities, imbalances, and a need for social change, Gandhi saw that a new constructive program as the embodiment of freedom in its true sense. So Gandhi's constructive program, if it is realized fully and we can conceptualize in its entirety, it only advocates that freedom for every component of the society without any portfolio at all levels, needed for everyone. So Gandhi also had a method of achieving this emancipation. It is not just only a rhetoric. And his main method was through non-violence. It has a moral strength to defeat the stronger forces so that it removes all sorts of suppression, oppression, and gives equality without any major conflicts and unrest. So Gandhiji wanted that all individuals must be aware of their individual and own rights. And he preached the concept of dharma, that one should do their duty, which enables people attain what do they deserve or the desired end.